Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here with a review of D-Day dice, designed by Emmanuel Ackwin. Alright, so here's D-Day dice all laid out. Basically, D-Day dice is in fact a dice game set on D-Day where you start at the beach at the beginning of your scenario, and you are fighting against increasingly difficult odds up the beach while machine guns are firing at you, while there are penalties for moving everywhere you go, there are landmines. But ultimately the goal is to make it into this bunker and survive the combat turn. As denoted by this 20, that means that you should expect to lose 20 guys on this turn unless you do something to modify it. So basically, you don't start with a lot, you start with 4 soldiers, but you're making the most of your die rolls turn by turn to crawl up this beach and make it to the end. I've set up to play as the United States, but you can also play as the UK, Canada, or France, and that's just the base box. There are expansions that offer other countries. Essentially, you will begin here on the beach where you only lose 2 soldiers per turn. However, every turn you have to advance your chevrons until eventually you absolutely have to move, and if you do not advance when the die is telling you that you have to, then guess what? You're going to lose the game. So you are forced to advance. You cannot just sit somewhere forever. But on your turn, you're going to do a fairly straightforward set of steps, but the end result is highly entertaining. So phase 1 is roll the dice. You basically have 6 dice, 2 red, 2 blue, 2 white. Every turn you roll them, and then once you've rolled, you have to lock 2 of them, but then you can re-roll in any combination 2 more times. So let's say that I wanted to keep these 2 soldiers because you kind of need those to make it to the end, and I wanted to re-roll these. I could do this in any combination, ooh, that was nice for these purposes, up to 2 more times. So after you've rolled the dice and done things in a combination of your choosing, you're going to do Upkeep. And what that means is that you take the final tally of your dice and you give yourself the resources that you earned. All resources are tracked here on this little card. So I would have started with 4 soldiers just because that's what's on the beach. But here I've gotten 3 soldiers. I've gotten 2 medals of courage. Let's move that to the correct. So soldiers are just the human material, sort of tough to say, that you need to make it to the end. No soldiers, no unit, you'll die. So you have to be generating soldiers constantly throughout the game. The medals represent courage, and you need them to advance. So as you can see here on the side, if you're going up the battlefield, you need medals in order to advance. So here I would need 1 medal to make it to this next stage. And I would need 2 to make it to the one after that. So you want to make sure that you're tracking your courage. You can also spend 6 courage to purchase an award, and there's some fun little surprises in there that give you little bonuses. So if you should find yourself having an abundance of courage, it doesn't hurt to give yourself an award for it. For this, we would add a star. And what stars are good for is purchasing specialists. So every country will have their own set of regular and unique specialists, and then you also have some ranking specialists that are in a pool for purchase. And all of these specialists will have a special power. So for example, the scout gives you tools, that's the last symbol that we're about to talk about, and it costs 2 stars to recruit one. So stars are another resource that lets you purchase helpers for your team that really make the game a lot more under your control, more tactical. So you're definitely going to want to explore the specialists instead of just leave everything to the dice. So there are 2 other die faces that didn't just naturally come up. One of them is the tool. Having the tool symbol allows you to purchase items. So in a solo game, you'd have a regular item pool, and then you could choose a special item that's listed for your scenario that you can add in with them. You don't get all the special items, so choose carefully. But tools allow you to purchase items, and if you get multiple tools on a roll, then you get lots more extra item points to make purchases easier, and that's detailed here on your handy helper sheet. Sometimes you can roll a double soldier, which is really, really good. Trust me, you're going to need these guys. And then the last symbol is the unlucky one, and that would be the skull. If you get a skull, and you can't re-roll your way out of it. So it's like your 3rd roll, there's no more re-rolls left, you roll a skull. What you do is you use it to cancel one of the existing dice results. So I would only get credit for these dice when calculating my resources, and the skull would cancel something out. So those are the die faces, but there's a lot more going on, which is what makes this game so much fun. So you're using the dice to buy things that help you, some of which modify dice or give you extra symbols. Also, you want to be looking for that treasured RWB, and that stands for red, white, and blue. If you get the same symbol, but one in each color, there are bonuses listed over here, and they change slightly per country, which gives the game some variability. But you definitely want to be looking for those RWBs because you get bonuses for them. So in this case, I not only got 3 soldiers from just my roll, but I get to add 4 soldiers to my unit and 4 to another unit of my choice. But since I'm playing solo, that basically means that I would get 8 soldiers for that RWB. There's also the possibility of getting a straight, which is one of each of the 6 die faces, and that also carries bonuses. So when you're re-rolling, when you're looking at that skull, you think, ooh, do I want to try for a straight? Am I going to risk canceling a die? Do I want to get a skull RWB? Because those are pretty good. There are enough considerations in this game to make everything just that little bit more exciting. After you've done all of your upkeep, then you adjust your unit marker. So we'll go from 1 to 2. That timer is relentless. You gotta move. In phase 4, you can rally a specialist or draw an award. So that's where you spend all of those nice little stars and courage medals that you got throughout the game. So if you want to rally somebody, that is when you do it. And then after that, if you're going to move, it's time to move. So let's say that we did want to move. Once you move, you face combat, which means that we would lose 4 soldiers on this turn. And there are a bunch of variable options, so sometimes it's 3 soldiers plus a machine gun roll. And there are other special consequences that happen to you, either good ones where you gain different types of specialists for moving into certain types of spaces, or where you lose specialists because of where you chose to move. So every map is different, there's always a lot going on, there's different things to plan for, and I just sort of enjoy starting up a game and looking at what needs to get done so I can kind of plan a basic strategy if the dice will let me do it. So the game ends up being sort of a delicious balance between timing and luck and tactical decision making, because you have to go with what you've got in the moment, and that forces you up this beach. One other thing, don't get cute and think that you can retreat, because you can't. You can never go back into an area you visited before, and you also cannot go from one level down into the previous one. There's only forward or lateral movement, and you'll be trudging through blood and gore and machine gun fire, hopefully to take out the bunker at the end. And that's just a basic overview of D-Day Dice. All right, so now for some final thoughts. I'm just gonna start off by saying I think the D-Day Dice is super fun. I get a huge kick out of it, and I definitely think that it's a worthy addition to your solo collection, especially if you want to play something that's kind of a war game, but is also super light and fun and easy to teach to other people. So for me, D-Day Dice hits a lot of spots, and I seriously get a kick out of it. I will say that I occasionally feel a little bit guilty because the main mechanism of this game that is so fun is collecting soldiers so that you know that you can have them die on the next turn and then just get more and keep going on your merry way. And so it's almost guilt-inducing to have a game that's so fun that's based on something that is actually really terrifying. I don't know that I would have it in me to jump onto a beach and try to run up it knowing that somebody was trying to mow me down with machine gun fire. So the topic is serious, but truly the game is good fun. It is a dice game, which means that it can be a bit lucky, but what I like about it is actually that there are lots of ways to kind of play the dice that you have. So, if you've got stars, you can use that to purchase a specialist who might get you something that you need. You can purchase items that might get you something that you need. You can use your courage either to buy awards or to advance, which means that maybe you'll get an award that benefited your party if nothing else is happening on that turn that you wanted. So even though the dice don't always come up your way, there are things you can do to manipulate what's happening, to hedge your bets for a future roll. And you'll fall into patterns where you kind of get a sense of what specialists you want for certain occasions, and you can actually work towards those goals and make the game more exciting because you feel more powerful, and also more successful because you know what to do. So there will be times when the dice just don't go your way, especially if you're playing a really tight scenario. But overall, I actually think that for such a luck-based game based on dice, there is a lot that you can do, and I find that really entertaining. If you want something with a war theme that's also a quick play for solo, I've definitely gotten out D-Day Dice and played multiple scenarios over the course of an evening, and that was my evening's entertainment. So I can say personally that I do recommend the game. In fact, I like it quite a bit, and you can expect a playthrough soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and happy gaming.